Hello, I am Alyssa, and today I'm sharing with you my very late December favorites. Yeah, I know, I'm always late. Maybe one day, maybe one day, I'll be on time with it, but for now I'm not. So please forgive me. But I do hope you find some things you would want to watch or play or read, because I love talking about my favorite movies, TV shows, books, and video games of the past month and a half, because honestly I'm always late with it. So, I will have timestamps down below so you can jump around if you're not interested in one particular area of entertainment. But let's get started with the movies! So the first movie I watched in December was The Call, which this pleasantly surprised me. I wasn't expecting much from it, to be honest, but it was a really good thriller horror film, and honestly, I'm gonna get past the description just because I feel like going in, if you don't know the description, it's a lot better. I mean, I knew the description ahead of time and I still really enjoyed it, but I think if you don't know what's going on, you'll like it a lot more. I will just say that the film follows two women who are both in the same house, but I think they're about 20 or so years apart, and they talk to each other on the phone, but things take a turn. It's on Netflix. It does have an English dub, which plays automatically if you're in the US. It's got pretty decent ratings, actually, from overall. There is a 2 and a couple 3s from the users I follow, which I will follow you back on Letterboxd, by the way. But yeah, I think it was a really good movie, and for a Netflix exclusive especially, it was pretty dang good. The next movie was just pure fun, and that is Freaky. Freaky came out on November 13th of 2020, I think, and then it was quickly put on VOD. It's just really fun. It takes the Freaky Friday format and melds it together with Friday the 13th, or, you know, slashers of that ilk. Stars Vince Vaughn and Catherine Newton, who swap bodies, but Vince Vaughn's character is a serial killer. Catherine Newton's character is just a high schooler who's trying to get through everyday life, and it's just funny to see how they each act in the other's body. Really though, Vince Vaughn is the one that shines because he has to play a teenage girl. It's a lot of fun. It's way gorier than I could have ever expected, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, this next movie, I know a lot of people love it, and I feel like I need to watch it again to fully grasp what I saw, but that's Black Bear. And I forgot to tell you the ratings for the previous two movies. The Call is 4 stars, Freaky is 3.5. Black Bear's 3 stars, but I feel like if I watch it again, that might go up. I guess I didn't get the full extent of it during my first watch, but it's a film that you don't really know what to expect, and even when you're watching it, you're like, what's going on? That's pretty much all I can say about it. The acting is phenomenal, especially Aubrey Plaza. I think this is her best role to date. I always like watching her in things, but she's really good in this. I just feel like I need to watch it again to fully appreciate it. But yeah, it is artsy. It's not going to be for everyone, but it is very clever and unique. The cast, again, is fantastic, and I do want to give this another shot, but I did give it 3 on the initial watch. Next one, I watched with my dad just because we've watched this kind of stuff before together, and that's Larry the Cable Guy Remains Seated. This is his newest stand-up special on Netflix, and it's pretty funny. Most of the jokes land. I mean, if you're not into like hillbilly redneck humor, you're not gonna like it. But I don't know, from when he was on Blue Collar, I've always kind of just enjoyed his comedy, and yeah, we had a fun time watching it. I gave it 3.5 stars. The next one's not so funny. Ron White, if you quit listening, I'll shut up. He's just too crass and too vulgar, and I didn't like it. My father didn't either. It's just not my style of comedy, so I wouldn't really I wouldn't say I wouldn't recommend it, because people have different tastes in comedy. It's just not one of his best stand-ups, because I have seen some of his previous ones that were funnier. This one's just not very good. Okay, this next movie is one of my favorites of 2020, and that is Sound of Metal. Riz Ahmed, oh my freaking gosh. Amazing. If he's not nominated for an Oscar, I'm gonna scream. But this movie is so good. It's about a drummer that starts going deaf, and obviously he's a drummer. He needs to hear the music he's playing, and it just completely changes his life. It was so moving, and it was the way... words, but the way they implemented the use of sound was so incredible, and the lack of sound. It was so powerful. Oh my gosh, watch this movie. It's on Amazon Prime Video. One of the best of the year. Darius Martyr did a fantastic job directing. Definitely watch this. Even if you're not into like films centered around music, this really isn't about that. It's about this man who has to kind of accept the fact that his passion is no longer suitable for him because he can't hear. And it's sad, but it's moving. Okay, this next movie a lot of people actually hate, and I expected to, but I enjoyed it far more than I thought I would, and that is Turistas. I watched this on HBO Max. I gave it 3.5 stars. I gave Sound of Metal 4.5 stars. I'm so sorry, guys. I am rusty with the YouTube game. But Turistas. This movie, you can see the ratings. Not very high. A couple of higher ones. It's fun. I like this more than Hostel, which people said, for the most part, they're like, oh, this is a Hostel ripoff. Hostel is way better. I hated Hostel, guys. I hated it. This one I actually really liked. It took turns I wasn't expecting. It was very gory. There's one scene in particular that I was like, can I make it through this? But I did. But I don't know if some people could. It's just, I mean, it's got an attractive cast with Josh Duhamel, Olivia Wilde, Melissa George. It's just fun. It's gory. It's fun. You don't really know what to expect going into it. And yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a horror movie to kill like an hour and a half, Turistas, you could go worse than this. But I mean, if you did really love Hostel, maybe you won't like this. I hated Hostel and I love this. So yeah, it is a little predictable at points. Like I said, you couldn't expect some of the twists and turns, but the story itself, little predictable. But I still really enjoyed it. Next one is actually a TV. It should be in the TV section, but that's Japan Sinks 2020. I gave it 4 stars. I'll talk about it in the TV portion. The next one up is a rewatch, and that is Compliance. This was a movie I got at Dollar Tree for $1, and my dad had never seen it, and he wanted to watch it. And it had been years. Like I hadn't watched it since 2012. So I kind of forgot what happened. But it is based on a true story, and it's just disturbing. It's about this girl that is accused by the police of stealing someone's cash at a fast food restaurant, and the police on the phone has her manager and other people that work there do disgusting things to her, and it's just, you can't believe that it's real until you actually look up the actual story behind it, and then you're like, holy crap, people are that dumb. But it is a very well crafted film. I did give it 3.5 stars both times I watched it. It doesn't have a lot of rewatchability, and it is a tough watch, but it is fascinating, and it's just kind of like, how can people be that dumb? Really? The next movie up I watched was a stanker. A stanker! It was a stanker! Oh my gosh, these earrings are bothering me, but I'm suffering because beauty is pain. Ava. Okay, I know some people really love this movie, and I mean, I thought I would. It's an action movie. It's got Jessica Chastain, who's always badass. And it's got other amazing actors like John Malkovich and Colin Farrell. I think there's some more in there. Like, let's see. Common, Gina Davis, Ioan Griffith. So there's a lot of really good actors in this, but it's just so boring. It was so boring, guys. It takes your typical hitman, hitwoman story, trope, film aspect, and it makes the actors just say wooden lines. They're not doing their best work. It feels like they're cashing in the performance. It looks stunning. It's a very beautiful looking film, and when action does happen, it can be exciting. But I couldn't stand it. Honestly, I couldn't stand it. It was torture to try to watch the whole thing, and I could not watch the whole thing. I admit it. I did not watch the whole film, but I got over halfway and I could not stand it. Okay. So, 2.5, just, and that half is because of the way it looked. Okay, the next film is another one of my favorites of 2020, and that is Wolfwalkers. This is the latest film from Cartoon Saloon, who also put out Song of the Sea, is it The Secret of Kells? The Book of Kells? I think it's Secret of Kells. I haven't watched that one, actually. That's why I don't know the title. But this was so magical and so cute. It takes place in 1600s Ireland, and it focuses on wolfwalkers, who are basically werewolves. But it's just such a cute story, beautiful visuals, amazing voice acting. The two young actresses in this who play the lead characters, Honor Neefsey and Eva Whitaker, great. But you also see Sean Bean in it, Maria Doyle Kennedy. I love both of those actors. But just, oh my gosh, this movie made me cry. It's about the power of friendship and family, of accepting the people you love no matter what their differences are. And it's just, you don't really see a lot of, you know, werewolf films set in 1600s Kilkenny, Ireland. It's just really interesting, and it's really perfect for the present day, honestly. Next one I watched, I heard a lot of people say it was like one of the most terrifying films they ever watched, and it honestly didn't scare me, and that's Hellhouse Llc. Some parts were a little, you know, jump scary for me, even though people said there were no jump scares in this movie. It's a found footage film. It's supposed to, I don't know if it's supposed to be based on a true story. It's not. It's okay. It's okay. It's very slow. Not a lot happens until the end of the film. And it's not that scary if you're used to horror films. If you're new to the genre, or, you know, if, I'm just gonna say, clowns scare the crap out of you, it'll probably affect you more than it did me. I thought it was okay. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It's good for the genre. It just didn't impress me as much as I thought it would, and it'd scare me, besides the couple of jump scares. Another one of my favorite films of 2020, I watched a lot in December that were my favorites, was Another Round, which is also called, I believe, Druk. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry. Druk. I should have researched that. That's my bad. But I do really like Thomas Vinterberg's films, and Mads Mikkelsen is one of my favorite current actors, and this movie was so good. This might kick me off the algorithm, but this film follows a group of 4 friends who are all teachers at the same school, and they all lead kind of humdrum lives, and they all decide after reading this research report that they're all going to maintain a low level of intoxication every single day. So you see them drinking at school, at home, and at first everything's great, positive. You're like, oh, that looks good. I think I want to drink too. And then you see the negative effects, which I really appreciated. This is a powerful film, and it kind of sneaks up on you with its emotional aspects. It's just really well done. The actors are great. The ending is one of my favorite endings of a film. I mean, just look up Mads Mikkelsen dancing in Another Round. It just cheers you up instantly. It's so good. So good. I next watched Hunter x Hunter, which really impressed me. This is an indie film with a low budget, but so much is done with that budget. And it's really centered on this family that lives in the middle of nowhere. They just get their food off the land, they fend for themselves, they don't have electricity, but they suspect that there's this killer wolf out in the forest hunting all their food, all the animals. And then stuff starts happening closer and closer to their home, and you don't really know what to expect. It is a slow burn, but the way that it's paced is just so wonderful. And the cast, which includes Camille Sullivan, Summer H. Howell, Devon Sawa, and Nick Stahl, all great. I always like seeing Devon Sawa in any kind of film, but he was really good in this. He was unrecognizable in this at first for me. But I was really impressed with how they handled the gore. The ending is an ending that will stick with me for a very long time. And I do recommend you search out this movie because it's so worth seeing, and no one's really talking about it, but it's very impressive. And I loved the way the story was written and how it's paced. I loved the setting. I loved pretty much everything about it. I get it 4 out of 5 stars. I really was impressed by this film. The next one was just, that's Black Mass. I will say Johnny Depp's performance was fantastic, but the film is so long, or it feels so long. It's only a little over 2 hours, but it felt way longer than that. And the pacing is so weird. I just couldn't get into it. It is based off the true story of Whitey Bulger, but the cast is really, really good. It's got Jesse Plemons, Dakota Johnson, Joel Edgerton, Kevin Bacon, Benedict Cumberbatch, but it's not the best film I've seen, and it was kind of disappointing. But, I watched it, I can say I watched it And Johnny Depp was really good in the role, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Next one was also a really big disappointment for me, and that was the Christmas Chronicles Part 2. I freaking adored the first one. Adored it. It was so charming, and this one just went... It still had its moments, and, you know, seeing Kurt Russell as Santa Claus and Goldie Hawn as Mrs. Claus was a delight, but this just felt so cheesy compared to the first one, and it felt very childish. More aimed towards family than the first one did, and that one was pretty much aimed towards families. So, I don't know why this one was not as magical. It had a different director. I don't know if, you know, I don't know what changed. It just didn't have the same magic. It's not a terrible movie by any means, but comparing it to the first one, it's just not as fun, not as charming, and it really let me down. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because it was disappointing, especially after how much I loved the first one. The next movie was a rewatch. This is something I watch every year on Christmas, and that is A Christmas Story. 5 out of 5, purely based on nostalgia and the fact that it pretty much holds up well today. It's just so funny, and it's a Christmas classic, and again, I've watched it every year on Christmas since I can remember. So it's just a holiday staple for me. I then watched Wonder Woman 1984, which I know a lot of people are lambasting, and I can see why. But I thought it was really fun. It's nowhere near as great as the first Wonder Woman, which blew me away. But I did like this. I liked seeing Gal Gadot return as Diana Prince / Wonder Woman. I really liked Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord. Getting to see Chris Pine as Steve Trevor again was great. I was not a big fan of Kristen Wiig, but I'm biased because I'm not really a big fan of hers in general. I just didn't think she was a good Cheetah. I do think the film is too long because it's 2.5 hours, and I don't think it needed to be that long. But besides that and some pacing issues, it's a fun ride, it's action-packed, it's good to see the characters returning, and Patty Jenkins just, I mean, her directorial style just always slays it out of the park. It's a very beautiful film, very colorful, in your face, bright, and it makes you feel good. It's a happy film. It's not perfect, but I don't think it deserves the hate it's been getting to its full extent. I did give it 4 out of 5 stars. The original Wonder Woman got 5 out of 5 for me, so that tells you how it stepped down, but I still really liked it. So the next film, another one of my favorites of 2020, was Soul. This is Disney Pixar's latest film. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars, and this movie just made me think about my life, and that's what it's trying to do. Jamie Foxx is the voice of a jazz musician who, he's just focused on being a jazz musician, and he suddenly one day dies, and he gets to see his life and how it would turn out if he had done other things, and he is accompanied by this spirit named 22, who is voiced by Tina Fey, and 22 doesn't really care about anything. They don't, know their purpose. And this movie is about finding your purpose in life, your passion, chasing your dreams, and it is very emotional. It's beautiful. I was a little disappointed by the ending, which is why I did not give it a full 5 out of 5. But, I mean, if the ending had landed a little bit better, this would have been a 5 out of 5. But overall, it's 4.5 out of 5. It's beautiful. Watch it. It's on Disney Plus. Free of charge if you're a subscriber. You don't have to pay for it like you do with Mulan or anything. Another film that a lot of people seem to not like is Death to 2020. I thought it was hilarious AF. But I have a very weird sense of humor. It doesn't really gel with most people's senses of humor. So yeah, I really like this. This is from the creators of Black Mirror, and it just goes over all the events of 2020, but it puts a humorous spin on it. It's got some really great actors in it, such as Samuel L. Jackson, Kristen Milioti, Kumail Nanjiani, Joe Keery, Hugh Grant, and they're all playing fictional characters, and they're just commenting on different events, and everything is made fun of. Everything's above a joke, so it doesn't side with one political affiliation or one point of view or anything like that. It makes fun of everybody and everything, and it's a lot of fun, and it's only 71 minutes, I think. Yeah, 71 minutes. I was right. So it's a pretty quick watch. It's funny. And yeah, if you just hated 2020, watch it, because it makes you laugh at it. This next movie I really hated. People said it was scary. It was boring as all get out. Fire in the Sky. I know it's based off a true story, or it's supposed to be, and really the only good part of this movie was the last 10 minutes or so. The rest of it was boring. I hated saying that because it's got Robert Patrick in it, and I mean, he's the T-1000. I hate bashing the T-1000, but this movie was so boring. I just watch the last 10 minutes. That's all you need to watch. That's all you need to watch. Just watch the abduction scene. That's it. Just watch it. A lot of people do love it. Like, look at the user reviews. They like it. I didn't. So take my review with a grain of salt. You know what? F these earrings. I'm getting a headache. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. You know what I said about beauty is pain? Don't put yourself through pain. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. There we go. Done. Pain's gone. Pain's gone. That's so easy. Okay, this next one should also be in the TV categories. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but it's Your Lie in April. 5 stars. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Next one's also in the TV portion. A Teacher. 4 stars. Next one, Better Watch Out. I actually watched this after Christmas, but it's a fun movie. I didn't expect it to turn out the way it did, but it's just a lot of fun. It's a horror comedy. It is set during Christmas time, but you can honestly watch it at any time. Ow, my ear still hurts. That was a bad idea wearing those earrings. But, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. I don't want to ruin the story, but if you haven't watched it, check it out. If you like slasher films, especially comedic slasher films, check it out. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun. The next one is one that also people have divisive opinions about, and that's Tenet, which I kind of wavered on it throughout my entire viewing experience, but ultimately I thought it was really well done, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Love the cast. John David Washington. Robert Pattinson. He's been so good in movies this year. Oh my gosh. Elizabeth Debicki. Kenneth Branagh. All great. The story is a mind bender. I was going to say the F word, but you can't do that now on YouTube. I pretty much grasped the concept, but there's a lot going on, and this is a movie that pretty much demands you watch it multiple times to fully get everything. And that's a big ask because this is a 2.5 hour movie. But I liked it. I liked the ambition. The visual effects were incredible. Incredible. I like the story. I'm really into hard science fiction, and it just scratched that itch for me. I don't think it's one of Christopher Nolan's best films by any means, but I didn't think it was a total crap show. You're entitled to your own opinion. Watch it, make up your own mind, because I can see where this would just be like disappointing to people, because Christopher Nolan is a very, very well-known, well-respected director, and this doesn't quite live up to, you know, Inception or The Prestige, Dark Knight trilogy, but it's still a really unique film that I think only he really could have made. So just give it a watch. If you're a fan of Christopher Nolan, give it a watch. Make up your own mind about it. The last one I watched was Burrow. This is a 6-minute short film on Disney+. It's a Pixar short film, and it was just so freaking cute. It's about this rabbit who is trying to expand her burrow, but she keeps burrowing in to other people's homes. And it's just so cute. There's no dialogue, but the animation's adorable. It just made me feel so happy. So do check it out if you've got Disney+. It's just a 6-minute dose of happiness. Well, that's it for the movie portion. So let's go on to the TV that I loved in December. Let's go on first with the anime. I'm just adjusting my bra like a stupid person on camera. Who cares? Let's go with anime first. Okay. I'm going to go with Japan Sinks 2020 first because it's my least favorite out of the anime I watched in December, but I still really liked it. Japan Sinks 2020 is an anime by Masaaki Yuasa, and it's brutal. It's about how an earthquake devastates Japan, and then tsunamis happen, more earthquakes happen, and Japan starts sinking. And it really just centers on this one family and their journey of trying to escape Japan and get to a safe place. Every episode is brutal. Brutal! You never know what to expect. This is basically like Game of Thrones, but in anime form, with the deaths. I will say there is one storyline that doesn't really gel well with the others. I'm not going to reveal it. If you watch the show, you'll know where I'm talking about. Like, why is this here? But overall, really, really enjoyed it. It's on Netflix, and yeah, it's a Netflix exclusive, so watch it. It's not very long. The episodes are very short. Just watch it. Yeah, it's about a natural disaster that just ruins Japan. And it's emotionally disturbing. So yeah, it's good. It's good. Okay, now let's go to my favorite anime of the month. And oh my gosh, Your Lie in April. No one prepared me for how this would wreck me, okay? Just mild spoiler here, so if you don't want to hear it, skip ahead like a few seconds. The last 2 episodes, I could not stop crying. I wasn't prepared. Anyway, this anime follows a middle schooler named Kosei, and he is this child piano prodigy. But he grew up in a very harmful household. His mother pressured him to become this amazing piano player, and since her death, he has lost his passion for playing the piano. He can't hear the notes he plays. But then one day he meets this beautiful violinist named Kaori, and she just kind of inspires him to get back to playing the piano. And it's just a look at how Kaori not only changes Kosei's life, but the lives of his friends and everyone around her. Kaori is just such a wonderful character, and I don't want to say too much about the story because that does kind of give away why I was wrecked. But it's just such a beautiful anime. It's pretty much streaming on every single streaming network besides Prime Video, so there is no excuse not to watch it if you're interested in it, because it's on Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Crunchyroll, Funimation. It's on everything, and there's a reason why. It's fantastic. It's a masterpiece. It's an anime that will stick with you for a very long time and rip your heart out at the same time. Like, I still want to cry thinking about it now. It's so good, though. Okay, the other show that I'd shown in the movie portion was A Teacher. This is a little problematic, I will admit, but this handles the subject matter way better than the film did. This is based off the film version, written by the same woman, but it's just, this does a lot better job of condemning teacher-student relationships. It does make it look a little too sexy, and I don't think it should have, because it's not a sexy situation at all. It doesn't matter any kind of circumstance, it's not sexy. But Kate Mara and Nick Robinson are wonderful in their roles as the teacher and the student in an affair. It is a very short series, and the episodes are very short, and the ending is a little bit divisive. Not a little bit, a lot divisive. But it does handle things better than the film did, and I was glued to the series. I wanted to see what would happen, what the consequences were. I was overall pleased with how they handled the situation, but again, I wish they wouldn't have sexualized this relationship to make it more titillating for viewers. It wasn't necessary. But it's still worth a watch. It bothered me. I know it's not going to bother some people. Some people are going to like that aspect, and I'm kind of worried about that. But I don't know. It's just, it was a good series, but it just didn't need that sexualization. Okay, rant over. Prude rant over. I'm sure a lot of people call me a prude. Okay, I get it. Okay, my favorite show of 2020 was The Mandalorian Season 2. Oh my gosh. Baby Yoda. I'm not calling him by his given name, okay? It's horrible. I know some people love Grogu, but I can't. It sounds like a pasta sauce, okay? But, I mean, The Mandalorian Season 2 raised the stakes so much higher. Every episode was a banger. It was fantastic. I was emotionally invested. That finale had me crying. I don't care that I'm almost 30 years old. It had me crying, okay? No shame. No shame in my game. No shame. And I kind of want to rewatch it now because it was so good. It was so good. If you haven't watched The Mandalorian and you're a Star Wars fan, please watch it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I don't know what's happening to me, guys. The last show I want to talk about is one that's really flown under the radar for a lot of people, and that is The Wilds on Amazon Prime Video. When you read the synopsis, you instantly think, oh, it's, young women, but lost. It's not that. It does follow 8 young women who board a private plane to go to this location, and they get in a plane crash, and they wash up on a deserted island, and they have to figure out how to survive, what they're going to do, how they're going to get off the island. But there are other things happening that none of them really know about. And again, I can't say anything without spoiling why this show is so special, but I really loved how each episode sorry, as a reflux, really focused on a different girl and showed her history, her background, and why she was on that plane. I really enjoyed it. There is a season 2 coming, which the ending totally made it where you need a season 2. But it's so good. Please watch it. It's not getting a lot of buzz or recognition, but it's so good and so well put together, and it just puts a fresh spin on the whole castaway, lost genre trope situation. Okay, there are a couple games that I really, really liked in December, and first up is When the Past Was Around. I did write a written review for the Gaming Outsider for this, so I will link it in the description box below the video, and I won't go too in depth in this video because I want you to read the review. But it's just a wonderful game on PC that is both soothing and emotional, and it makes you think about life and love, and everything about it's just gorgeous. And the next game is a problematic game, and that is Cyberpunk 2077. Also, if you see this is my notebook, okay? It's fine. Cyberpunk 2077. It does not live up to the trailers that were previously released. It does not look as good as those trailers. And there were a lot of, I wouldn't say lies, little, like, inconsistencies that don't happen in the game. But it's still so much fun. The characters are outlandish and you like them or you hate them. The side quests are so good. They almost overshadow the main story, but the main story is also really gripping. I freaking love Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I mean, you guys know I have a soft spot in my heart for Keanu. He's a great guy in real life, and I like to support him in his acting endeavors, and I really liked him as Johnny Silverhand. Okay? But I loved being my own personal V, even though I couldn't see V most of the time. And it was just a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing the game. I put about 40 hours in, and honestly I can go back and do some more side quests and stuff. I just haven't yet. But it's just it's fun. It's not as great as people made it out to be before it released, but it's not as bad as people are making it out to be now. But I do have a caveat with that. I played it on Xbox Series X, so I do not have experience playing it on the base Xbox One or PS4 or even PS4 Pro or Xbox One X. I get the naming conventions of the Xboxes mixed up now. But, I mean, on Xbox Series X, it ran pretty smooth. There were bugs. Not that many, but there were. But I had a fun time. I can't complain too much about the game because I had such a fun time with it. Okay, and the last thing I want to mention, now I really can't show you everything because I was a mad woman, but there's a reason I'm wearing this shirt and why am I fondling my boobs again, okay? But the books I loved in December were the Fruits Basket manga by Natsuki Takaya. Oh my gosh. I read all 12 of these 400-ish page mangas in 3 days. 3 days! Because I had to know the story because Season 2 ended, the anime of Season 2 ended, and I really needed to know what happened. I had read part of the manga series in high school, but I couldn't remember what was in it. So I completed it, and oh my gosh, my little heart's happy, but also I need to see Season 3 of the anime, and if people want to write fan fiction, I will read it because I need more. Natsuki Takaya, please write more Fruits Basket. I've already read Fruits Basket another. I need more. I'm so obsessed. I have a problem. I have a furuba problem. Also, Kyo is my husband, though. I love Kyo. Kyo's my favorite character besides Toru. Those were my December 2020 favorites. Let me know what your favorites were of the past, I'm just gonna say this month because no one can remember what happened in December. Down below in the comment box. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell if you haven't already because that will alert you every time I upload a new video. Share the video if you liked it. And also if you want to follow me on social media, all those links are in the description box below the video. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!